Thank you for joining us today. We are a bit late, but nevertheless, we're on New Zealand Thrush West Indies to seal the series. West Indies going down to New Zealand last night in the three-match series to lose the series um, 3-0. New Zealand win the toss and electing to bat first, declare at 575 for the loss of 8. Declare West Indies batting second, made 420. New Zealand went back to bat and made 306 for 2. Declare West Indies after being at 85 without loss. A dramatic collapse to be all out for 138, effectively losing the test match by 323 runs. I have with me here the Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Mr. Dale Brown. I also have with me Gawain Freitas from St. Kitts and Nevis with us today, as well as we review for the final time the three-match test series between West Indies and New Zealand, our final show for 2025. And we come to discuss and to dissect what would have happened in this final test between the West Indies and New Zealand. We're going to start with Mr. Gawain. Mr. Brown will follow thereafter. Mr. Gawain, explain for us 85 without loss and 138 all out. You're muted.
Sorry. Yes. I actually thought that. Good afternoon, all. Actually, let me say that first. Good afternoon to all our listeners, viewers around the Caribbean and around the world. Let me first say that I thought that we, as in West Indies, as in we, WI, as in we, WE, we had actually already gotten past those monumental um, calypso type thing. Because even being, what, 80, 84? 84 without loss, I was like, okay, when the first wicket went down, was fine. I tuned in late, 'cause I was driving, I got back, realized the two openers was down. I was like, okay, no problem. Two openers gone down. And then it was just dramatic. It was like, I don't know why. Like the whole team need a bushman. I honestly do not understand how we still keep having these mental lapses whereby like we we just keep being this poor, and it's ridiculous that we could actually go from one level to the next. It's like there's no in between. Everything is either black or white with us. We either win really good or we lose really bad, and there's no in between, and it's ridiculous. And we have to look at the players them really got to start taking responsibility for it. A lot of times we like to blame coaches and all like that, but yes, we need to start to hold these players responsible. And it's so ironic because I just saw a quote here, just while you were making the introduction, saw the quote for Waston Chase, sorry. And yeah, he got to take some fault for it, but not just he alone, but every single player got to look at themselves and wonder what they did and if they are satisfied with their performance last night. Because it's ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous from the West Indies. Mr. Brown, some of us your thoughts about from 85 to 138 all out.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Codlin, and greetings to my fellow panelists and to the viewers, listeners worldwide. Um, there's a saying, you turn the corner around in a circle. That means all you keep doing is going round and round. You're not making any progress. And even though we have seen hints of some batting progress. As soon as we are finished with that cycle, we return to the same spot and sometimes even worse. We saw encouraging batting performances against India and against the same New Zealand team. And even in the first inning of this game, we saw encouragement. Now, some people will point to the wicket, to the pitch, but don't be deceived by that. New Zealand scored 500 and odd runs in their first inning and declared. We scored 420 runs in our first knock. New Zealand came back and were 306 for two declared, put us into bat. We batted an entire session on that last day and batted for over an hour on the second to last day, and then batted for over an hour on the last day without losing a wicket and got to 87 without loss. Now, from that 87, we added 51 runs for the loss of 10 wickets. And from that 87, we must remember that Brandon King scored 67 of those runs. Now, if he could score 67 runs in very fast time without taking unnecessary risks and stuff, what happened to the rest of the batsmen? It's a collective failure. And it is also a reflection of a collective failed system of picking the team, of selecting a captain, selecting a vice captain who cannot even play in a match. And so it is not surprising to me, anyway, that the morale of the team is very low. Because when you see performances like this, it means that the overall morale of the team is low. It can be just simply this or that. The morale is low. And when the morale, whether you're talking primary school, in a church, in a government, in a franchise, anywhere in the world, when morale is low, you simply look at leadership because morale comes from leadership. It's not a matter of the players being motivated themselves, is who is picking those players, why they are picking them, and what are the players being asked to do. It's their function and their role. And since we are into this, intellectual thing now, these guys are supposed to be smart enough to understand what their respective roles are. And okay, you place me here, you can bat for me, but you are the one that picked me there. And if I don't have the required skills and the required competency to perform well consistently, not every once in a while, consistently perform, that means something about how we are selecting these players. It's flawed. So I will end there with that.
Absolutely. From Mr. Brown there, his opening thoughts. Mr. Gawain, looking at the West Indies batting Brandon King, as Mr. Brown alluded to earlier, 67, John Campbell 16, Kevin Hodge, the first inning centurion, um, caught Ravinder, um, caught, caught Ajay Patel accounted for Hodge wicket. Shea again failing LBW to Patel for 3. Alec Atanisa 2. Justin Greaves for a duck. Ruston Chase the captain for 5, and Tevin Imlach not out on 15. Tevin Imlach not out on 15 from 90 deliveries with 2 fours, and his strike rate was 16.67 runs. Is that acceptable, Mr. Gawain, that um, our wicket keeper Tevin Imlach just cannot get runs was the criticism earlier in the week of Ruston Chase. Um, should we read into it as being justifiable now?
But we can't even read into it as being justifiable because if you look at it, he made more runs than Chase in just
Absolutely.
this single innings. His 15 in this single second innings is more than Chase making the entire match. So Chase has zero thing to say about the youth. To me, Chase should be talking at all because Chase has not done anything for this series. So he shouldn't be saying anything about anyone. So he should be the least to be talking. So I don't even think it's justifiable. Everybody but the two openers performed poor. And I'm wondering what was discussed before the day split because it almost seemed as if um, it was discussed that if we lose two quick wickets or if we lose a wicket or two, we're gonna go into the shell mode of trying just to save the match because you had hope wasn't three for close to 100 runs, 100 balls for your face, and Imlak was the same, and all these guys were just it almost seemed like they were playing to save the match rather than playing to draw, which is different than saving because they were just playing to play out the day. It seemed like more than join the match, and then you end up being so defensive that because I I mischase Wicket, and I just automatically thought that Duffy had him for a sharp ball because we remember I mentioned something a couple of days ago where I said Chase is the number one batsman in the world, but not playing at the sharp ball. He needs once he get that fixed, he got enough talent to get that fixed, I believe. He gonna be ridiculously great, right? But he was found wanting, and these guys realized that he couldn't play the sharp ball, and they decided that is how they were going to. They decided that is how they were going to play him, right? And we got these guys. So I really can't. Even I would really like to blame the management and the picking of the team because had we won, we would have never gone down that road. We would have never blamed management or the picking of the team or the players. Marwell, yes, but I think Marwell still like they got to come to a point whereby we got to start to hold these guys accountable for their actions. And your action is your action because at the end of the day, you're walking down to that wicket with the bat in your hand. Nobody else down there with you but your partner. And it's up to the two of you to determine that, hey, this game is ours and we're gonna play it how we want to play. But these guys, so I'm wondering what was the game plan? Was it to save the match? Or was it to go out there and try to, well, not win, but even try to draw the match and saving it, as I said, playing out for the day, actually playing as close as possible, drawing because you nothing wrong with the wicket. As you mentioned, Cartwright, you had two openers, well, other than Campbell, but Ting made it look easy because he was at one point when we in the fifth over, we were close to 40 runs without a wicket. Um, King had 32 of those 40 runs, and he had faced less balls because his strike rate was very high, and Campbell had two off of almost the same amount of balls faced. So obviously we know that the wicket wasn't a problem. The actual wicket was a problem. The batsmen were. So I really think we got to figure out what the issue is and fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned Ruston Chase, let's look on Ruston Chase. Just a bit of stats here. Um, Mohammed, um, that he was captain um, of Pakistan, Khalid Mohammed, um, average 11 as captain, 11.82. When we look at Ruston Chase 2025, average 13.81. Nasser Hussain 2000, average 15. Joe Darling 1902, average 15.37. and Mohammed Ashaful 2008. That's the former Bangladesh captain, average 16. Mr. Brown, dissect those stats for us. Um, the West Indies captain is in unwanted company there.
No, absolutely. And this is where you go back to selection. Ruston Chase was not a test player active when he came back into the team. And not only did they bring him back into the team, they gave him the great responsibility of captaining a losing team. And there's no worse job than to be the captain of a losing team. Now, Chase, as you point out, this year, 0 wins, and he has not even made a test 50 in 8 test matches. And his batting average is 13.81. Regardless of what any other captain is doing, he is not performing for us. And one of the things with a captain, he must perform for the team because that's the only way he can truly motivate the players that are playing under his captaincy. He has taken 9 wickets in those. He's not there for his bowling, but he's there for his bowling too because they say he's a crucial all rounder. He has only taken 9 wickets, and for each of those wickets, it cost him 70 runs. 70 runs. Ruston Chase at his best is an average, a batten test batsman who averages around 25 runs per inning. That's Chase at his best. And we know that we are lacking in talent in the Caribbean, or when I say talent, consistent showing of whatever talent we have. Yes, someone will come up and show up every now and again, but in this case, you need your captain, who is a leading batsman, to lead from the front. Even if he's not the best in the team, he has to put up the numbers to justify his place in the team. Right now, he cannot justify his place in the team. And with such a long, and as I said before, Mr. Codwin, on the program prior to this, he has to perform in this game. He must perform in this game. And what did he do? He did worse than ever. The only people to make more less runs than him is Shields and Lane. And everybody else is making more runs than him. It's a disgrace. He should, and I will say it out loud now, if they do not drop him from the captaincy, take it from him, he should resign for his own good. And for what, I don't care what they do in the future going on, but he needs to move away from it for his own good and for West Indies' own good. And I'm not saying it in hindsight, I'm saying it loud and clear, straight up right now. They have to make sure that they pick the right players. And when you drop players, you don't just drop them because you do not like them. You pick the best players. And that's what we get when we leave the selection in the hands of a one or two persons. You need a selection panel to ensure fairness and to ensure neutrality when you are picking a team. If you leave it up to me, I'm going to pick who I like. And that is it. And
Yeah,
that is why from from the head coming on down, you don't go from the bottom and go to the top. You go from the top to the bottom when you're looking for a problem in anything, in any industry. That is what you do.
absolutely.
Agreed, but if we go back to even when we had what you call those things, where we had selection committees, we didn't have almost the same issue. It's not the first time we have crumbled in our second innings. Actually, we have actually played better in most second innings than not. But it's not the first time we have crumbled in the second innings. But it's almost we've had these issues whether we've had one per selection panel or we've had three selection panels with the chief selector and two other selectors or something. So it's not that. But do I agree with you 100% whereby we got to pick the best players and we got and we we shouldn't be because I think the issue what we did wrong is that we started picking one two. which means we started picking Chase and the vice captain and what his name is. We started picking Chase and Warwickon. So now we only got 13 more guys we have to pick because we only going with 15, so we don't pick two. Those two, they show it as in the team, so we only have 13 more guys to pick. So now we're at a disadvantage because we're not picking 15 guys and then choosing two, which is a vice captain and captain. We are picking 13 guys because we have already chosen our vice captain and captain. And to me, it doesn't work, especially in the longer format. It might work in the T20 half because to me, I always feel like a T20 is a hit and a miss kind of game because sometimes the game could change in like 3 overs, 3 to 5 overs, depending. Sometimes the game could change from an innings. But in test match, it takes longer because the grind is longer because it's test match. So it's a lot more. These series are different. So we got to be careful when we're picking a 15-man team. And I agree with you, we pick the best 15. It doesn't matter. We pick the best 15. You like the guy could play cricket. He plays cricket well. Pick the best 15. He could fit within the team because you're not the team as coach per se. He could fit within the team. He gonna come out, he gonna bat, he gonna bowl wherever he take 10, 12, 15 wickets for the series. He gonna give you he 100, 150, 200 one for a series. That is what you want. He gonna take he catches. This is what you want. And I think we have not, you're right, we have not been doing that, but we need to figure out because the next test series, I think, well, the next home test series anyway, is in June. And I think our next, basically, and our next test series is until June. And then we got a bunch of T20 matches and ODI matches and ODI series. And our next series is a series versus Afghanistan, I think, in UAE in January. And then we play South Africa for some T20s in South Africa before we head off to the World Cup in March. But other than that, again, this will be a good time to decide how do we properly select our 15 because we got to select our 15 players. So how do we select our 15 players? Do we decide that? And again, you start the same way. Yeah, you have hope, but you say the same way. Who's our 15 players? And you pick everybody accordingly. You don't know you're probably gonna have Leave Hope as captain because he has not done anything to warrant dropping him as the captain of our white ball teams. But you look at it and you put everybody name out there and then you start again, captain. You know what? And again, it goes based on the kind of grounds we'll be playing on, the where we'll be playing, and we decide that's who we're going with. But I don't know. In all, we were competitive, and I'm gonna go with that because that's one a positive I could take from it, that we were competitive. Kevin Hodge came back and he showed, even though he didn't perform as well in the first innings, but he showed that he was dropped and he went and he worked on his game and he came back and he improved. We hope that everyone who was dropped, and again, why was he dropped? Because maybe go back to the fact that he's not like, because he almost seemed like, you know, if the man ain't like you can't be playing for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. When we'll let's take a few comments. Mr. Sobaram Sharma Champion here said West Indies need middle order specialists like Javel Glenn. And Mr. Sherwin here said, good afternoon. Um, Mr. Brown, hearing what Mr. Gawain would have said, um, and reading the comment just now, does West Indies have a batting problem or a mental problem in terms of coming into the game with a plan and being able to execute that plan?
Well, first and foremost, It is a mental problem, which of course is going to filter down into the batting and the batting performance. And if you just look at numbers and try to pick players just based off numbers, it's not going to work. You have to know the circumstances under which that player scored his runs. You have to know match situation, and you have to know how he went about organizing his inning, which comes from seeing him play. The numbers, you can see him through the numbers. The numbers will take you but no further than that. You have to know under what circumstances. And we talk about numbers. You look at in 2024, just to just a little bit, we were 14 and 12 in T20s. This year we are 7 and 15. Why? Because we changed the captain unnecessarily. You need stability at the top, first and foremost. You need consistency with how you pick a team, and you need eyes out there. Without any comparison to anything, you need eyes out there watching these players, and then those selectors meet and pick them. Whether or not they do a good job, you do the best practice. You do the best practice, not by just looking at numbers and one person make the decision. You have people, if they come up with the wrong decision, at least we can say it's a collective wrong decision. But when you have just the one or the two, then that is not a collective. Not when you're representing all these territories and players have to be picked from all of these different territories, etc. And you just want a person in your team, or you just want to drop a person out of the team because you don't like them. We should have been way past that in our history, because God knows we went through that a lot in our history, especially in the first part of it.
Agreed. Agreed. But so then I guess it's like you play players for courses. But then when you play players for courses, it doesn't always mean some stability. Like the dropping of Wavman Powell. I mean, I would say I didn't see him performing as well. I mean, so but would it be that that was the reason to take away the captaincy from him? I don't know. I don't know if it was a personal thing, whatever. I've heard the back and forth. I've read some of what Powell said and some between the lines of what he didn't say. But does it come down to that? Because even before then, I think we still have been poor. That stat of the crossovers, the stat you mentioned is a crossover stat because it's still between when Powell had the captaincy and when he lost the captaincy. Um, I think a lot of it still had to come down to our opening batsmen and how they were playing those matches, which again, our batting seemed to be a problem. Imagine we played New Zealand in a full series, right? We didn't have the Josephs, let me call it that, the law firm of Joseph and Joseph, and we still basically held our own. I mean, yeah, they were up 400 and something, 500 and something once, but we were still able to run up the same 400 and something once on them, right? But our problem seemed to be the batting, and it happens in Tests, ODI, and T20s, and we still haven't been able to be consistent enough where when our batsmen show up, sorry, when our bowlers show up, our batsmen show up at the same time. And I think that is the reason why we have such a poor showing as of late in well, not ODIs, in T20 matches, and we have a poor showing as of late in our test matches. In ODI, our batsmen still don't show up, but we have not. I don't even know how to put it. We here and there. We still on par as to how our performances were 2 years ago. But I don't know what we are supposed to do. We got 3 months to go before our T20 World Cup. So we're playing, I think it is 3 T20s and 3 ODIs, I believe, versus Afghanistan, and then 3 T20s or something like that versus South Africa just before the World Cup. I do not know what we should be doing other than maybe getting some of our best players back. I do think that we do need what his name is, holder back in the team. I do think that he's an asset, and we do need him back in the team. It would be nice to have Evan Lewis back, but he gets injured too easy for my liking. So we'll just have to work with what we have, and what we have actually at the top isn't bad. King seemed to be hitting his stride, so I do feel that the confidence need to be put in King. That hey, dude, you're hitting your stride. We want you to open, and we'll open you maybe in T20s with because he didn't really do so bad in the T20s. What his name is with Athens. Or we get someone else to open with you, and we drop Hope down. Even though I honestly do think we could still get a lot more out of Hope if we take away the gloves, even in in ODI matches, and bring in Django because Django has performed and he deserves to be there. Bring in Django to keep, and then we'll be able to bat further down. We'll be able to bat all the way down to at least 8, 9. But again, it is still up to the team. And like you, Mr. Dale, I do believe that there is some personal thing in picking the team other than picking the team based on players and stats. It seems to be, as they say, if I like you, I can pick you. But no, you got to pick your best 15. And then who, even if you like a person, if they perform and hey, they belongs in the team, it doesn't really matter. Pick your best 15. Because the issue seems to be happening and occurs. Because we're going to have the two Josephs coming back in January. And we basically know that, okay, we're building a core team. We have the bowlers, but the batsmen just seems to be an issue. So I really don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah. Are you all hearing me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
hearing you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. We're having a bit of
And Brother Codlin, are you there?
yeah, we're having a bit of internet
okay,
issue
good.
here. Yeah, welcome back to Cricket Extra. We had a bit of internet issue just now. That cut off our stream. Mr. Gawain was, really going over his frustration with the West Indies team. Mr. Brown wanted to respond to a few comments that you would have made. But before Mr. Brown respond, we just want to read a bit of the comments here because they are very interesting, and I think some of it would have been really. Let me just go through my best 11 for the next test match. Campbell, King, Blackwood, Hodge, Vice Captain Edmire, Raymond Reefer, Imlak wicketkeeper Warwick and Captain Anderson Phillip, and Azari Shamar. Now let's look on this that Mr. Sherwin said here. If we are going, I refuse to even look at let's hear what he says at the top. Ruston Chase captain, Jamel Warkan vice captain, John Campbell, Tejan Ryan Chandapal, Tevin Imlak, Anderson Phillip as hold on. Anderson Phillip and Kima Roach, they must go for a lack of production. Would you agree with this comment, Mr. Brown, that Kima Roach lack of production, maybe the rest can, and when we look at Campbell returns in the last few games, would it be fair to call for his head at this time?
No, not for Campbell. You know, he has done something decent, not great, but not for Campbell. And Roach, I don't know about his ability to last, his stamina in terms of fitness and injuries. So for that reason, you have to be very careful with Roach. But I think he should be in the squad even as a mentor to the younger bowlers. Um, and yeah, so that's what I would say in regards to that.
Yeah, let's
Same here. Fully agree with Mr. Dale.
yeah, man. Let's continue with a few of the comments here. Um, he stresses point by saying that if we are going to lose with these older players, I will rather give the young guys the chance. Akeem August, Joel Anjo must be in all future test teams. And I have two choices for captain of the test team, Azari or Joshua. They are my captain and vice captain. Kimaroch took 10 wickets, but he have taken 37 wickets in 17 matches since 2022. He is not getting younger. Sorry, Roach took 37 wickets in 19 matches since 2022. Your response, Mr. Brown, followed by Gawain.
And this is in regards to Roach in particular.
Yes.
Okay, Roach in particular, yes, I agree with him. And take, for example, Roach through injury maybe did not bowl in um, across both innings of those matches. But in a sense, I agree with him. Roach, as I said before, can be in the squad, but not to be necessarily a first pick in the starting 11 because they need guidance. And I think that Roach can provide that guidance for the younger bowlers, especially. In terms of the captaincy, believe it or not, and this is what we are talking about, um, in addition to the best all round batsmen, meaning players who can bat spin and pace almost with equal ability, and bat under pressure. Not the horse for the courses, but just the best all round batsmen. See who is a flat track bully and who can bat well on bad pitches and get the best rounded batsmen there. It's strange, it's really enlightening that this gentleman would mention captaincy because I believe that the moment Joshua De Silva, whether you like him or not, he was the standing vice captain in Pakistan when they dropped him, knowing full well that the captain at the time, Brathwaite, gave up the captaincy on that tour. And instead of turning over the captaincy to the vice captain, they dropped the vice captain completely. So this way, it took him out of the runnings for the captaincy. They can sugarcoat it whichever way, but that is exactly what happened. The proof is in the pudding. Alzari Joseph, who was up and coming, whether or not he will be a good captain, yes or no, he was on the elevation. He was being elevated. And then we found out that he had a problem. They took it away from him, the vice captaincy. They had a problem with hope. And from then, he has been in and out. It just doesn't seem to be the same person. And so the leadership from the top, we have not been consistent with it. We look at Rovman Powell. Do people understand that last year, in his last season as captain, he was the leading run scorer for the team? Do we understand that only Shea Hope performed better than him over that period of time? Do we understand that this year, when we look at Rovman Powell, it's only Shea Hope who has made more runs in the T20 setup than him? And last year, he was a leading run scorer in T20. On what grounds did we take away the captaincy from him? And those are the type of decisions that Cricket West Indies must explain to the people of the Caribbean. How did they come across making those type of decisions? Where is the consistency? You have a test batsman, wicketkeeper, who is the vice captain. You dropped him out of the team. When that captain comes out, you come back and you go through whatever it is that you're going to pick a new captain and you have a new system of picking the captain. And it turns out to be an abject failure. Abject failure. When you had some kind of continuity that was going on in the team already with the silver, on what grounds did you drop him? Non-performance? Okay, so what on what grounds are you keeping Rust and Chase now then? It can't be for performance.
Good point. Because I think that if we go back to the Silver again was even, remember he was the A-team captain when we toured, when the guys toured in South Africa. He was also A-team captain, so he was the A-team captain. He was dropped. Okay, yeah, he had a dip in form. Everybody got a dip in form. So you're fine, you drop him, but you don't drop him out the team. But what I'm thinking now is that maybe they dropped him thinking that what his name is, Hope was going to accept captaincy, but Hope said no, he don't want the captain. And then finally they got Hope as an all format player because you realize he got a contract as an all format player. So you get Hope as an all format player, but you don't know. No, you don't bite the bullet, you don't drop Joshua the Silver. Hope say he want the captaincy. So now what you gonna do? You end up you just gonna give it to one of your senior players. And they wasn't gonna give it to Alzari because of what happened with Hope in the ODI match when he walked off the field. So it was almost like a disciplinary thing where they didn't give it to Alzari because he most likely would have been next in line because of his seniority in the team. So they weren't gonna give it to him. So had to give it to Chase. My thing is then, okay, fine, you give it to Chase, but where did Warwick come in? Because okay, Warwick has been vice captain now for past 8 test matches, right? And how many of those test matches he played? He didn't play none in New Zealand. He played maybe one in India, and he didn't play. Well, he played two against Australia because I remember he played two against Australia, and he played, well, not two. He played one against Australia because he played the first one. He didn't play the next two. He played one in India. He didn't play any. So he only played two test matches out of 8. So you definitely can't keep him. You can't keep Chase because you're gonna have to use the same reasoning you got behind dropping the Silver. Gonna be have to be the same reason you're gonna have to deal with Hope.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're dropping totally out of the team because he's a utility player. So you call him up when you need him, but
A utility
you're gonna have to
player.
use the same reasoning. Because if you keep him, why do you keep him?
Yeah. A, a utility player indeed in limited overs cricket, which by his own admission, it is where he's looking. Um, just a few comments here. The silver was dropped because he's not black or Indian. If the silver was black, he would have never been dropped. No, I cannot or I will not put my head on the block. But if we were to go back to um some 15 years ago when the Australian Jamaican Brandon Nash was vice captain to the Jamaican Chris Gale, and is a white man indeed, but was just considered as a vice captain. Usually, what would have happened is that once the captain departs, then the vice captain would have take over. That was the normal apparatus of appointing a vice captain. the next guy that the captaincy will fall to once he's fit and ready to take over. Just like when Mahendra Singh Dhoni was captain of India, Rohit Sharma was appointed vice captain and later took over. They took the vice captaincy from Sharma, gave it to Kohli, and Kohli took over on the Australian tour, that India tour there, and continued on. Sharma was vice captain to him and took over the captaincy thereafter. But in West Indies, it doesn't work like that. Mr. Brown, we're not laboring too much on the point because we do not want to infringe on people's um, right in terms of, black and white and what it means in our world today. But do you believe that a white man will ever captain West Indies again?
That's, Brother Codlin, is a loaded question. I think at this stage in our game, we should just look at ability and select from that, leadership ability and select from that. And as Gawain pointed out, Da Silva captained the A team and he was vice captain of the test team. He was under consideration, whatever that means, for the present captaincy. And so I'm going to pass on that one to say that there is a chance, yes, for that to happen again.
It is. I think so. I don't think that it had anything to do with he being black or white, Indian, anything. I just think it just had something to do with the fact that they needed they needed who they needed, and they really didn't get who they needed, and we know who they needed. They wanted hope, they didn't get hope, and they was like, okay, let's just come down in line and we're gonna go with Chase because I said Chase is a good utility player. You know, I mean, I was even shocked when he was pulled into T20 cricket. But then I realized, okay, he played pretty well for St. Lucia Kings, which again is a team that Sammy coaches domestically. And he brought him into this squad of the T20 squad, and he didn't. Yeah, we had done too well. I don't think that he should be in the 11 at all times. I think especially T20 player for courses depends on who. The guy have a little dip in form, you bring in somebody else, right? But Chase, but um, as it is for Joshua De Silva, they're not going to want to go back down the road. They're not going to want to reverse course. So whatever they choose to do, I think it might be the good thing is that we they don't have to make that decision right now. They have 6 months in which to make that decision. But what they might do between now and then is maybe try to get back Josh into maybe a T20 squad or ODI squad or something like that based on his performance, which they'll say based on his performances in the recently held Super 50, he was the second leading scorer and he should be back in the squad based on that. And we'll be looking at blah, 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 blah. And, maybe bring in where we're playing Afghanistan and see how it goes from there, and try to reverse course. But they don't
Yeah,
have to make a decision on the test squad right now because we don't play again until June.
you're very correct there. Our next test series will be against Sri Lanka, and then right after Sri Lanka we will play Pakistan at the Queen's Park Oval and at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Tarouba in July. Um, when we look at the West Indies test team, we might have a all format captain in Hope. Somewhere down the line, Sammy might convince Hope to take over the captaincy. And if we doesn't have a good enough T20 World Cup in 3 months' time, Hope might have to give up the captaincy of the T20 team. That will hope now the spot for him to captain the test team, the ODI and the test team, which naturally in India, we saw Shubman Gill captain in the ODI and eventually captain in the test team as well, and was made vice captain of the T20 team before he was left out of the World Cup squad the other day. Would that be a logical way to go about it, Gawain, then Mr. Brown? Clearly, the team needs leadership.
Yes, logically, yeah, yes, logically. No, it don't always work because when Mr. Dale was there speaking, no, you were referring to it. I realized that, and I remember reading the article a few days ago, whereby even on the Indian media, in the Indian media, sorry, they were complaining about the same thing, whereby they was wondering when they announced the team on Sunday or Saturday, whenever they announced the team for the World Cup, it was they were wondering, well, how did this person get dropped and that person get dropped, and wasn't it supposed to be an automatic movement from one way to the next? So when I was reading it, I was saying, man, this actually sounds like West Indies cricket, whereby we just almost haphazardly just choose it, whatever. But I think sometimes it doesn't always work like that. Yes, it kind of should. But I think we were having that discussion whereby we spoke and we were like, okay, it's not so much like football, whereby, you have a captaincy for football and it's not as serious as cricket, whereby the captain get to choose the 11, get to say who's in the 11, whereby in football, you just captain, you get some say, you get some measure say, but you get sub off and somebody else take that and they have a different mind, a different way of playing. A lot of times the captain would be based on not necessarily the best player, because the best player a lot of time in football is a goalkeeper, but captain will be based on maybe a goalkeeper, a defender, mainly a midfielder, somebody who controls the flow of the game more so than a striker. So that's how it is in football. But in cricket, you want the captain to be somebody who makes a lot of the decisions, make a lot of the plays, and so, make a lot of the decisions and determine who plays in that setting and stuff like that. Bowling changes and a lot of kind of stuff in football is based on the coach. So I don't know how we gonna the natural progression we decide to go from here. But I think I agree with Mr. Dale that it should be something where the face should decide he will step down. That's the main thing. Just step down. It doesn't mean that you won't be in the squad because of course Sammy like you have beat other squads and I don't think you're a bad player, but just step down and so well, step down, you didn't perform according to thing. A lot of it was you because you still were a bowler and batsman. So a lot of it fall on you and just step down and just you know, decide to concentrate more on your batting or your bowling. I think he is a bowling all rounder more so than a batting all rounder. And concentrate on your bowling and just, you know, um, see how else you could help the team. Because it doesn't mean that you won't be in the 15. You'll probably not be in the 11 at all times, but you'll be in the 15 for the different squads, because I do consider him to be a good player. When he's unsung, like 2 years ago, I think we were having this ridiculous year whereby he was just scoring and taking wickets. It was almost automatic. Every time he comes on, he'll break a partnership. But we players go to slum and just determine, you're going to a slum and you'll relieve yourself of the captaincy, decide you're going to go and go back and come back better. Can look at Jason Holder. I mean, he was dropped, even though he did not like it. I mean, you could see he was sour about it, whatever. But look at Jason Holder. Look at the last 6 to 8 months of Jason Holder. I mean, guy is just being ridiculous, and he didn't want to give up captaincy. He didn't want not to have it. But since he doesn't have it, I mean, he is just a ridiculous player right now for the team. Well, not for just West Indies team, but any team that he's in. So sometimes that is what's needed, is that everything is for you.
Yeah, Mr. Brown, with Sheo being elevated as captain of the ODI and T20 team, it doesn't stop him from making hundreds. But um since Ruston Chase since Rasta and Chase being
You're going in and out, Junior.
yeah man, the internet is poor. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I just heard you.
Yeah man. The internet is giving a bit out. We're just gonna go for another 5 minutes. Yeah, since Rasta and Chase been given the captaincies become unreliable with bat and ball. Do you think it having a negative effect on him and hence Sheo gets the captaincy?
Okay. The first, because everything is a ripple effect. You have to go back a little bit and realize that if they hadn't taken the captaincy away from Rovman Powell, more than likely Hope would have grasped the opportunity to captain the test team with both hands. But the fact that he was captaining the T20 team turned him off from the test team. And it's a lot of mental pressure on him to wicket keep, to captain the team, and captain all of those teams. And that's one of the main reasons why he did not want to do it. Now, even wicket keeping for him was a problem. And if you recall, one of the things that we mentioned was the pressure in standing up behind the stumps and then going in front of the stumps and batting, having to produce as a batsman. And that was a lot of pressure on Hope. And ever since they took the gloves from him, he has rewarded us with 2 centuries in Test cricket because we can't mix up Test cricket with the ODI and with the T20 games. So we take away the T20 games and take away the 50 over games and just focus on the Test cricket. And we realize that once his workload has been shifted, he's more productive. Sick or no sick, he's more productive. If you look at India, Rishabh Pant is not their ODI wicket keeper, is not their 50 over wicket keeper. He only keeps in test matches. You look at England, the same thing with James Smith. You look at Australia, they have turned away from Alex Carey being keeping in other formats. He only keeps in the test format. And if you notice the last couple of games that they played, Inglis, who is the 1 day wicket keeper, played in the matches while but he didn't keep wicket. Carey kept the wicket. You have to have a plan and you have to stick with the plan. We talk about Shubman Gill. The reason why he's not selected, he has injury problems, and India is looking about him in the long term and say we're not going to sacrifice him for a month worth of cricket. We can do without him. So we're not going to pick him for these games. That's the real reason why they didn't pick him. The media can say whatever they want to say, but they because they want to make up a ruffle a lot of feathers and people to read what they're writing and saying. But the truth of the matter is that Gill has injury concerns and they're protecting him. We are now taking people and saying we have an all formats coach, we have an all format player, we have an all format everything. The mental stress on that cannot be underestimated. And sooner or later, it's going to burn you out.
I do agree. I don't think that hope should be. Well, let me not say that. Hope should be our T20. I mean, not in all cases, but most cases, it's for him to keep in T20, right? Not in ODIs, because I say it would burn him out, and definitely not in tests. So I realize a lot of people keep calling for him in tests, but definitely not in tests. We already see the fact that he is our best batsman. Even when he had his bad eye, as I was saying, he had one half a good eye and one bad eye when he made those ones, when he made the most ones for us in the first test, first or second test, whichever it was, right? But he should not be keeping. The most he should keep is in T20. And at that stage, if we could get someone else to keep, we get somebody else to keep. Because we got to realize that we need him for more than just T20 and ODIs. He's needed for, as I say, all format. So we really need to know how we manage him and manage others. Because I think when we had the conversation a couple of days ago, I think Mr. Dale, I think you mentioned even the fact that we had Joseph breakdown, well, Isaiah Joseph breakdown, then Shama Joseph breakdown. So we realized that we don't have a big pool of players. So we can't be playing around and say, oh, we have got this supposed to keep in two formats and then the breakdown or something like that. These guys playing a lot of cricket, and next year gonna be a lot of cricket played from January all the way down. When I look at the calendar, I think all the way down to October. It's every single month is a series, is a cricket series. Every single, well, barring maybe June. When we start in June, so barring April, May. Because I think after the World Cup, the guys have a break, and then we start off with Sri Lanka, then Pakistan, and I really do think that we go to India, no, Bangladesh, someplace we go to play some other series after we finish the home series, right? So we need to really manage our players. We don't have a pool. We don't have a million guys to choose from. We ain't got 10,000 guys to choose from. We ain't got 1,000 guys to choose from. We ain't got 500 guys to choose from. Probably got like a little bit under 100 proper cricketers to choose from, and we got to learn how to manage the players, right? So, and that is my whole deal with it too. We got to know how to manage our players, and maybe then we might actually start to get more from our players. And somebody point out I was on the live just now, and somebody point out that, and I fully agree with them. We don't need our best player doesn't necessarily have to be the captain. Just our be a role player, be a role model, a role player, be a consistent player could be our captain, a consistent player whereby, they might not get, say if he's a bowler, he might not pick up 5 wickets um, in an innings, but he might be able to pick up 2 to 3 in a game, you know?
Yeah, very much so. You know, what's happening with our team is very demoralizing, but we're here to discuss that and more. We want to thank all our viewers that are on thus far, um, pretty active in the comments as well. Want to thank the Cricket Hall of Fame, which continue to be our sponsors. Um, we want to thank Mr. Dale Brown for being with us and Mr. Gawain for being with us. This is our final show for 2025. We will return in January of 2026 to cover the 3 match T20 series that will be played in the UAE with the West Indies and Afghanistan. Then after that, the West Indies will go to South Africa to engage them in 3 T20 international, and then right after, the World Cup will start in India and Sri Lanka. The West Indies will open the World Cup playing against Bangladesh, and we will also play Nepal and a few other teams before the second round. So there's a lot of cricket coming up next year, and we'll be back. We'll be inviting back our special guests, Mr. Dale Brown and Mr. Gawain, to cover this series with us as well. So we want to thank all of you fans that have chose to join us over the course of this New Zealand series, and we were out for a long time, but here we are. We're back, and we're back for the long haul. Thank you for joining Cricket Extra today. We'll be back next year. Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Mr. Dale Brown, please take this opportunity to wish the viewers a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year until we're back with them.
Yes, thank you. Season's greetings and blessings in abundance to all the viewers and everyone who have taken the time out to support this program. And we wish you the best for the coming year. And also greetings to my fellow panelists and of course to West Indies Cricket Development Academy with the president and founder, Mr. Junior Codlin. Season's greetings to everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Gawain Furtis.
Okay. Season's greetings again, Mr. Dale Jr. Um, all the best for 2026. It's been a pleasure being here for the last two free shows. Very, very glad to be here. Really can't wait to do this again in January when this next series, next season start. Hopefully, we are also able to cover. I think, don't we have some regional games happening in January? I can't remember. Are those are pushback? But whether whatever it is, hopefully we're able to cover some of those as well. Wishing everyone a prosperous season, a Merry Christmas, enjoy it with your family, plenty love and life, and see you guys next year.
Yeah. I want to wish everybody, every one of our viewers, 87 viewers are with us presently right now. And I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Um, want to wish you all the best that life has to offer. Want to wish our West Indies team success in 2026 and may be their best year ever. And I want to wish our two guests a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. And also the Cricket Hall of Fame and all those that support the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. Thank you so much for all that you have done for us, all that you put in, all the encouraging words, your donation, everything that you have done to make these young um, players' life that we coach and mentor all over the Caribbean better. Thank you. You're making a huge difference for us. From all of us here at Cricket Extra, fully owned and operated by the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. Thank you so much and goodbye until we see you again. We leave you with a scene of Kevin Hodge, one of our positives from the recently concluded three-match this series with New Zealand. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
You're welcome, sir.
Welcome, welcome, sir.
Look, I told myself, hey, I spent all day to get 90. I still have all day tomorrow. Just stick to the processes. It makes no sense. I work so hard from 0 to 90 and then go change. So just stick to the processes. Keep concentrating. Every opportunity I get, I'd ask God for strength and to keep me focused. But yeah, it was just a matter of sticking to the processes and taking it one ball at a time. The hardest thing in I think international cricket when you get back is feeling that you belong and knowing that you have what it takes to be at this level. So it's I thank God for the opportunity and just to be able to provide some runs and value for the team. So it's up there.